again, everyone, and welcome to another episode on Let's Talk About Us with Uche. Before we get started, please, if you're new to my podcast, please make sure to subscribe, download, share, like, and share with your friends, your families. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, like and share, and hit the bell notification so that anytime I post a video, you'll be notified right away. For today, I'm going to be talking about white supremacy and why we must all fight it. White supremacy and why we must all fight it. I do want to give a quick disclaimer before anyone gets offended. This video or this episode, this podcast is not meant to bash anyone in any shape or form. I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards any groups of people, white, black, whatever I do mention here, religious or not. This is just all 100% my opinion through observation and personal encounter. So this is not to bring down anybody at all. So if you feel offended, please be. I am apologizing in advance. This is not to offend you at all. This is just to share insight on my own opinion. White supremacy, for anyone who doesn't know, white supremacy is basically the belief that white is better or white is superior than anybody else. So in the hierarchy of humans based on race or ethnicity, the white race is on top and everything else goes down. It goes down all the way to black. So everyone else is better than black, and then on top is the white race. So that's what white supremacy is. There are a lot of Western societies that are built on white supremacy, that white is the better, the more preferred color. A lot of people who are white tend to be favored more. So that's basically what systemic racism is, a system that is built to favor or tilt in the favor of the white race. So I'm going to be talking about why this is a very unhealthy mentality, and we should all collectively fight it because it's killing us more than it's helping us. So if you've been listening to my past episodes, I did mention spirituality and why it's important that we should all look for or seek spirituality. So spirituality to me is the belief that there's more to us than the physical. Like I mentioned in the past episodes, there are three things that make up a person: the physical, the mental, and of course the spiritual. So the physical is what you see right now, what you witness right now. The spiritual is what comes afterwards when this life is over, and I believe that the mental is what connects them. So sort of like a bridge. And if you haven't listened to my War Against Spirituality, please go ahead and listen to it. It's a very loaded and very informative episode. Basically describing the physical and the spiritual as a mother and child, and the mental being a bridge. And if you attack the mental, you separate the mother and the child, because both parties suffer, and that's what the devil is actively looking for. And in that episode, I describe what the devil is, and the devil is not something that you see in the movies or as described in the Bible or in churches and stuff like that. I think it's much deeper than that, much deeper than we can comprehend. The same thing goes for God. God is not some type of, it's not a being per se. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have a form. Even we cannot comprehend who God is. Even the most righteous, the most intelligent creatures on the planet can never in a billion years fully comprehend who God is. So please go ahead and check that episode out. I'm going to try to add a link on the bottom so you can check it out if you haven't watched it already or listened to it. So going back to everything that I've been saying, I do believe that we're all connected, whether you like it or not. Every single one of us, black, white, yellow, purple, green, orange, doesn't matter what you are, doesn't matter what nationality you are from, doesn't matter what language you speak, it doesn't matter your gender, ethnicity, we're all connected 100%. There's a reason why that we're all born and existing at this exact same moment right now, that we all don't know what it is, but for some, in one way or the other, on a spiritual level, we're all connected. And it's very important that the devil tries to, it's very important that to the devil that he tries to break this bond, this connection, this relationship. So as a way to break this relationship between the humans, the human races, the devil is definitely pumping so many distractions, so that we're constantly being distracted with a bunch of petty things, so that we don't come together and see that the devil in all actuality is actually the common enemy. That we're more together, we're much stronger together than we are apart. And these distractions have been gradually introduced into our human societies over time, that we now see them as norms, so we comfortably conform to them without even knowing them. These distractions are in the forms of traditions, laws, culture, religion, etc. But the truth is that we are more than that. We're created to be free ranging, imaginative, intelligent people. We're supposed to get together and make something beautiful with each other. Imagine four people in a room. I have a talent that somebody else doesn't have, but they have a talent that I don't have, and the other people don't have that talent, and vice versa. Every single one of us, all four people, have individual talents that we can all contribute to build something beautiful. But we keep pitting each other against each other. We keep bragging about what we have and the other person doesn't have. I'm better than you because I have this and you don't have that and this and that. So basically, we're forming some form of disparity between us instead of us getting together and utilizing our individual talents to build something beautiful. And that's exactly what the devil is doing. So again, if you haven't watched or listened to the episode where I talked about war against spirituality, please check it out, because I definitely broke it down as to why it's important for the devil to try to break us apart so that we don't get together and realize that we are actually much stronger together than we are apart. Like I've mentioned before, every single one of us were created as individuals. It is very important that we know our individuality and we're able to project it into the world. And the only way to know this individuality is if you soul search. Soul search is the ability to look within yourself, within your soul. Look within you as a human being, as a creature occupying space and time, and try to find and figure out what it is that you were put on this planet to do. What were you put in this world to do? And like I mentioned before, think about it. Nobody else on this planet, dead or alive, has ever walked this earth like you, in the same combination as you, not with the same DNA, the same mother, the same father, the same voice, the same talents, the same heights, the same every single thing, 100% in the exact same format. Nobody. You are unique, one of a kind. So your existence on this planet is your opportunity to project your individuality. There's a perfect reason why you exist, and we're all connected. But the only way to do that is if you soul search. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't soul search enough. And I honestly encourage every single human being to soul search. We must all soul search. We must find out what makes us individuals and project it into the universe. There's too much wrong with this world, and it's just getting worse. Depending on who you are or what kind of mentality you have. And I'm not saying that I have a pessimistic mentality. I just have a very realistic mentality. I've been around. I've seen a lot of things. I've witnessed a lot of things, and it just seems like it's not getting much better. The world, our sense of morality, a whole lot of things is just crashing, and it's just crashing much quicker. And this is exactly what the devil wants. And the reason is because we're fighting each other and we're hating each other. There's so much racism. There's so much war. There's so much isms out there. It's a hot mess. But we don't realize that we can get together and fight this collectively if we all see how similar we are, as opposed to how not similar we are. And there's no reason why 7 billion people with fully functioning brains should not be able to decipher how to change our unfortunate fate. We have way too much things going on in this world and way too many people. We have over 7 billion people, and at least out of those 7 billion people, at least 5 billion should be adults with fully functioning brains, or at least half functioning brains. And every single one of us were created with a set of brains. Every single one of us, created with a set of brains. There's no reason why we shouldn't come together and figure out how to navigate away from our unfortunate fate if we don't do anything. So it is very important that every single one of us, we soul search on a very individual level. The devil plants a seed of supremacy in our hearts. Every human being, for the most part, is guilty of this sense of supremacy, even to our very individual families. Think about it. We're always looking for reasons to hate on each other. We're always looking for reason to say, I'm better than you, and you're not better than me. Supremacy is just something that comes so natural to us. Every time when I talk about racism, I try to explain to people that racism is not just about skin color. It's more so a human thing. Even if we were all the same race, even if we were all purple, even if we were all green, we will still find a reason to hate each other. I'm better than you because I'm taller than you. I'm better than you because I make more money than you. I'm better than you because I have this and you don't have that. I'm better than you because I'm a man and you're not a man. So these are the seeds that the devil plants into us, and I call these classism, like a classist behavior. And racism is just one of the forms through which classist behavior is being manifested. It's manifested in the forms of race, gender, sexual orientation, wealth, education, sex appeal, colorism, etc. These are just avenues through which classist behavior is manifested, and white supremacy is just one of the most common manifestations of classist behavior. And one thing a lot of people don't stop to realize is that the reason why white supremacy is the most common form of supremacy is because the European ancestors had a head start at colonization, or at least global colonization. I know colonization kind of sort of started prior to the Europeans discovered Africa, but they took it global. So the Europeans, they had a head start at a universal or global fight for power. So of course they created a systemically racist system that favored them. And that's the only reason why white supremacy is that common, is the most common. If Africans, or at least sub-Saharan African leaders, were the people who first had the ability to, globally colonize the planet, it would have been a totally different tone. They probably would have created a systemically racist society in their favor. So basically, black supremacy. But I'm pretty sure that a lot of black people listening to this right now would agree with that. A black supremacy or systemically racist society that favors the blacks. But the truth is, it's still equally as flawed. Doesn't matter if it's white supremacy, black supremacy, pink supremacy. Doesn't matter man supremacy, woman supremacy. It doesn't matter. These are all distractions from the devil, just so we can say that I am better than you and you're not on my level. These are all disconnecting us from spirituality, our individuality, which is supposed to join us together so that we can relive or fully live our full potentials as we were created by this supreme being that put us on this planet, on this world. When dissecting white supremacy, I think it's important to consider the general European mentality. The Europeans generally believe in survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest isn't always about physical strength. Fitness isn't just about physical strength to them. It can also be how intelligent you are to convince the other person that he or she is weak or weaker than you. So, like I said, the earlier Europeans, they were the first people who went quite global with colonization, and of course, they created a system that favored them, hence systemic racism, systemically racist society. So the term white privilege was coined. So white privilege is basically, if you're white within that society, you're favored. The system is tilted in your favor, and the closer you are to white, the more you benefit from that same society. And the further you're away from white, the more you get crumbs or leftover. But it really doesn't take rocket science to realize how flawed this is. This is not healthy at all. So basically, you're going to give people of a whiter skin tone more opportunities or more a chance to contribute, as opposed to somebody else who doesn't conform to that look, the white look. You don't give people an opportunity. You put them in a box, put them away in a box, because to you because of the way they look, they're relevant. Their opinion don't matter. But the truth, like I said earlier, is that we're all connected. Every single one of us are all connected. Take, for example, a company. There's very diverse. There's a lot of whites, black, Asians, Hispanics, whatever the dynamic demographics may be. And you keep patronizing one particular look. You keep telling, basically promoting one particular look. The white look. It's the only people that you go for advice, for contributions. But then everybody else, you don't give an opportunity. But you don't realize that little black girl or Asian man in the back somewhere that you're disregarding could be the answer, the solution to the issue that you've been trying to fix for a long time. And the reason is because you don't think that they're smart enough. You don't think that they're relevant enough, because you've been brainwashed to think of their color, their skin color, as synonymous to stupid or irrelevant. And then you're only giving opportunities to people who may not necessarily have what it takes to be able to foster the changes that you need in that company. And that is exactly what the devil wants. Being able to break our relationship, our bond, the thing that gets us together, that connects us together on a spiritual level. Because like I said before, if we come together and realize how close together we are, how related we are, our relationship on a spiritual level will be so airtight that the devil would not be able to penetrate. He would not be able to seep in any type of way, any form of way. But the devil knows this, and the devil is working overtime, extreme overtime, especially in these dark hours, making sure that he breaks this bond so that he can penetrate our souls and replenish and reinforce a classist behavior, basically telling us that we are better than somebody else because of our skin color. And this is why white supremacy is extremely unhealthy, and we should all collectively fight it, because everyone is hurt by it. Again, going back to the same company, where there's a particular problem in the company and nobody's able to fix it. But that's only because you're only looking at a particular group of people to be able to fix it, because you've been brainwashed to think that those people are the only people who are intelligent enough to come up with the whatever it is that needs to be done. But subsequently, you're completely ignoring the actual group of people or the actual person who may have the intelligence or the knowledge to foster the change that needs to be, brought to the table to change the dynamic of the situation in the company, because of white supremacy. And everybody in that company is hurt, including the white people. Every member of that company is hurt because we're not giving each other a chance. I know if you've been listening to my podcast or watching my YouTube videos, you probably think I'm very religious, but like I've mentioned earlier before, I'm not religious. I'm far from religious, but I am spiritual. I do believe that there are forces in the universe that no one has ever lived or will ever live to fully comprehend. These forces are forces of good and forces of evil. And I've come to label the good as God and the bad as evil. So my definition of God is not someone or something that you go to a church to worship or read from a book. I believe that the idea of God is something that we cannot ever in a billion years ever comprehend, because it's bigger than we will ever be able to comprehend. And the exact same thing is applicable to the devil, because I believe that if you have one, you have the other. You can't have one without the other. But it is important to understand that the good and the bad, the good and evil work hand in hand. It's like yin and yang. Good always seeks to correct, evil always seeks to corrupt. And I know this for sure, without a doubt, because I've seen both forces active in my life. They've both contributed in their own individual ways to who I am today. And I couldn't have gotten here with just good alone, and I couldn't have gotten here with bad alone either. Both of these forces had to manifest themselves in me in different ways that I may not have chosen if I had the option or the ability to choose, but it just happened in my favor. And I know this whole idea sounds very cliche, but without a doubt, this is very true. Every single thing that's happened in my life has been carefully orchestrated by these two forces to get me to where I'm at right now. And I needed the good and the bad to form the entirety of me being here right now. It's hard to admit because I have memories of all the pains that I've had to endure and have had scars to remind me of those pains. But spirituality has taught me that they are just right for me. Spirituality has told me, look, it was meant to be. Every single thing that happened in my life, both the good and the bad, the days I shed tears, the days I smiled, the days I was down, the day I was up, every single thing happened for a reason, in order for me to be to form the big picture of the person that I am today. And if one thing was off, the outcome would be drastically different. And as I've been through a whole lot of things in my life, I've through moments of introspection, I've come to realize that there's definitely a force behind me. And this force, I don't know what this force is, but for sure it's definitely a good force. And I've prayed to this force to manifest itself in me. And this force has consumed me, and I'm able to change my whole mentality. And a whole lot of things have definitely changed in me. My interactions with people, my mentality, my outlook, my general behavior, my demeanor, every single thing has definitely has this good spirit or this good entity or force has definitely fostered a whole lot of positivity in me. And I think this is where my spirituality comes from. And religion is supposed to be an avenue through which people are supposed to reach this spirituality. The idea of religion is supposed to be a beautiful thing. And that's why every major religion has a lot of similarities. But just like every good, evil tries to seep into everything that is good, just like good tries to seep into everything evil, just to correct it. I believe there's some truth to religion, so this is not a bash to religion or religious people at all. But over time, it becomes a tool for manipulation and control. And then, unfortunately, that's what religion has become today. A lot of people are religious in a very narcissistic way, because a lot of religious people that I've met are very pretentious, very narcissistic, very judgmental. They feel like they're doing something better than somebody else, just because that you are going to church every day or praying to God or whatnot, therefore your life is perfect. But that's not the truth. That's not religion or Christianity. I'm going to focus on Christianity because that's the religion I'm most familiar with. It's not something that you're supposed to have to tell somebody that you're a Christian. It's something that's supposed to naturally radiate from you. The grace is supposed to naturally radiate from you. Your behavior, your attitude, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat people, the way you handle things, your general demeanor, your general attitude in life is supposed to naturally be Christ-like. Whatever Christ-like is to you, it's supposed to naturally radiate from you. But unfortunately, It's sad that a lot of people who go to church or some of the religious people, a lot of those people are actually not as spiritual as they should be. Again, like I said, spirituality is supposed to, sorry, religion is supposed to be the avenue through which people are able to reach spirituality. But the people who actually reach spirituality are the minorities, in my opinion. A lot of the vast majority of people who patronize religion are far from spiritual. It's just more so to check the list, check a box. I've been there. I go to church, so therefore I'm a good person, and hopefully I make it to heaven, or whatever your religion equivalent of heaven is. And that becomes dangerous. That becomes dangerous because you have this check system in your head that if you go to church, your life is good. You don't take time to look within to see some of the issues that lie in the world around you, and also in you as a person, as how you can be reinforcing classist behavior. For example, racist behavior, white supremacist behavior. However, if you're truly spiritual as a person, if you're truly spiritual, as in you believe that there's more to us than the physical, and even in that physical realm, we're all connected, every single one of us, from the oldest to the youngest, from the most good looking to the worst looking, from the darkest to the whitest. You would understand that we are all the same. We're all in this together, and it is extremely important that you don't marginalize each other, and you will toss the idea of white supremacy out the window. White or black, doesn't matter. We're all in this together. And this is why I ask everyone to please soul search, please seek spirituality. Seek spirituality. Like I mentioned earlier, if you don't know where to begin, just cry out to the universe. Seriously, I've done that. Cry out to the universe and pray to the positive energy in the universe. I don't know what this positive energy is. I can't quantify it. I can't label it. I don't know what to call it really, but I do believe it. I've seen it manifest in my life as definitely my bones and coursing through my veins for sure, for sure. But you have to be specific what energy you call into your life, because there are other forces out there. You don't have to be specific. Call out the positive energy in the universe. A lot of people call this positive energy God. You can refer to this energy as God, but call out to it and pray for it to seep into your life and manifest itself into your life. Your prayer and your request to this being has to be genuine. It has to be selfless, and it has to be for your own good, for your own growth as a person. It cannot be to prove anything to anyone. It cannot be to shame your enemies, to prove something to people, for you to seem better, pretentious than anybody else. No, for your own good. If you want to grow on a spiritual level, cry out to this energy, this positive energy into the universe. Cry out to it, and it will consume you, and you're able. I promise you, you'll be able to see things from a much different perspective, and you start to see the common enemy. The common enemy as not the racist. The common enemy as not the isms out there. The common enemy is a devil that is actively looking to destroy and bring down every single thing that God Almighty, the actual God, has built for us. And once you reach this mentality of spirituality, you're comfortable with the spirituality. You must teach it to your children, your friends, and your family, because you can't just harbor this alone. You must teach your children love. You must teach them the trilogy of existence, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, and tell them how each one of those three things are very important. And it's very important that they patronize all three of them. They must have balance in all three of them in order for them to be successful, to have a happy, relaxed mindset. It can't just be physical alone. Don't just patronize physical. Work on your mental health, work on your spiritual health. We must teach it to everyone that we love. There's more to us than the physical. Teach that to your children. And even though we're constantly bombarded with the physical, if you open your mind and transcend beyond the metaphysical, you will be able to see that there's more. Teach that to your children, because they are the future generations of this planet. And when you see that there's more, you see that we're all connected. We all need each other to win this fight against the devil. White supremacy is a manifestation of the evil that is in the world. White supremacy is not just the only manifestation. It's just one of the most popular manifestations. But there are other kinds of manifestations of evil. I'm just focusing on white supremacy right now. However, if you're spiritual, you'll be able to see a whole lot of those distractions. They're being bombarded to us by the devil, and you'll be able to deflect them as you go. And it is also very important that we're not able to fight white supremacy by being anti-white. Being anti-white is not the answer. It's not the solution. I've met a lot of non-white people who are very anti-white, who are racist against white people. Trust me, that is not the behavior at all. You need to recognize that While you're being anti-white, that is the devil planting a seed of evil in you as well. Basically further distracting you from the issue as well. You being a victim of white supremacist society does not mean that white people are all inherently racist or evil, or no, that is not the answer at all. So it is very important that you check yourself before you wreck yourself, because being anti-white is not the solution to white supremacy. White people are God's children too. They're perfectly created by God Almighty to be here just like everybody else. They have every right to be here, just like every black person has a right to be here, just like every Latin person, every single one of us. We all collectively have a right to be here. So being anti-black or anti-white or anti whatever it is not the solution. Trust me, the devil is going to try to plant that seed in you, especially being constantly being bombarded by every single image and narrative that is anti whatever it is that you believe, or whatever society or group that you belong to, or community you belong to within that society. Is going to be your first instinct. But trust me, that is not of God. It is very important that you're able to fight it, and the only way to collectively fight this is through spirituality. Again, to quickly summarize, white supremacy is the idea that white is better or more supreme than everybody else. But this is not true. Again, the only way to know that this is not true, this is false, is through spirituality. Seek spirituality, that there's more to us than the physical. If you're able to rise above the physical and reach and tap into the spirituality, you realize that we're all in this together. Every single one of us, none of us is a mistake. Doesn't matter what you look like, we're all in this together. And the devil knows this. The devil here is a very negative, evil force in the universe that is trying to break us, trying so hard by throwing so many distractions at us. Distractions in the forms of classist behavior, classism, basically pitting us against each other, basically brainwashing us to think, or deceiving us to think that we're better than somebody else because of whatever quality that we have. But the truth is that these are all distractions, and there's so many different kinds of distractions out there. White supremacy just happens to be one of the avenues through which classist behavior is being manifested into society. So it's important that every single one of us were able to fight this, resist this. And the only way to resist this is through spirituality, seeking spirituality, understanding that there's more to us than the physical. And in addition to that, it's very important that every single one of us were able to soul search. Soul search is the ability to look within you as a person, trying to figure out what it is about you that you're put on this planet for. It is very important that you realize, or you recognize, that you are not a mistake. You are here perfectly chosen by whatever supreme being is out there. I know this all sounds like cliche, but trust me, it's not. You're perfectly created to be here. It doesn't matter, man, woman, tall, short, black, white, purple, green, yellow. Choose a color in the rainbow. You're here, carefully chosen to be here. So don't let the devil get into your head and try to tell you otherwise. However, you must soul search, look within your soul, look within your soul and try to figure out what it is about you that makes you tick. What is it about you that's unique? Because you're unique in your own individual way and projected into the universe. The devil is working actively over time to distract us so that we're not able to connect on a spiritual level and see that the devil for sure is the common enemy. And again, this soul search journey, the path to soul searching can often be very lonely, quite dark sometimes for some people. And I know this because I've been there myself. Sometimes you have to pause, step back, and just be consumed into your own self, and just take a totally different approach and totally different look in life, through so many different lenses, and try to find yourself. It is very important that, even doesn't matter how busy your life is, find time to just cave into your own being and find yourself, so that you can know who you are and what you're meant to be here, what you're meant to do on this planet, in this world, and project it to the world, irrespective of who you are, because we are all the same. So collectively, we need to get rid of the supremacy mindset, not just white supremacy, but supremacy in general. This is the end of this episode. If you enjoyed my words, if you enjoyed my spirit, my flow, please subscribe, download, like, share with your friends and your family. If you're new to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, download, and hit the bell notification so that you'll be able to be notified whenever I post a video. And also, please visit me on social media, Facebook at Let's Talk About Us with Uche, Instagram at Let's Talk with Uche, and my website is www.letstalkaboutus.org. That's www.letstalkaboutus.org. And please send me an email at letstalkwithuche@gmail.com. Thank you very much.